Everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So in 2015, the Obama administration established rules to prevent coal plants from dumping toxic waste into our waterways. And they required coal companies to handle and treat toxic waste in specific ways so that it wouldn't cause harm to human beings or the environment. And they gave them a certain amount of time in which to make changes to handle that. So as part of the 2015 rule, power plants had until the end of 2023 to become compliant in their handling and treatment of this toxic waste. Well, now, as typical with this administration, Trump has officially rolled back all of those protections and created new rules. And scientists are warning that this change is going to allow toxic chemicals such as arsenic and mercury to leach into our waterways and ultimately into our water supply. So as reported by the Hill news outlet, quote, "The rule, first proposed last year, weakens the regulations from dealing with residue from burning coal called coal ash and residue that's rinsed off smokestack filters. Both of those types of waste are often mixed with water and stored in large pits that can leak into groundwater or be released into waterways." So why would they allow such reckless and dangerous actions? Well, for the same reason that the establishment in both parties do everything: to save the coal companies money. They want to keep their wealthy donors happy, right? People always praise the Trump administration for getting rid of these regulations. What they don't realize is these regulations are in place for a reason. These regulations are put in place to protect us because companies have proven that they are not trustworthy and that they care more about profits. So the Trump administration, of course, and his EPA administrator, Andrew Wheeler, is trying to sell this as somehow helping to reduce pollution and save jobs. And yeah, I know that sounds comical, it sounds ridiculous, but that is literally the argument they're making. Here's what they allege, and here's what the reality is. Wheeler claims that there are, quote, "newer, more affordable pollution control technologies." Okay, that is actually true. According to the former director of science and technology of the EPA's Office of Water, what Wheeler is referring to is something known as membrane filtration. Now, although the membrane filtration itself is a good thing, the Trump administration is allowing the coal plants to choose whether or not they'd like to use it. They're literally allowing corporations that have chosen profits over people for decades to opt in to the use of membrane filtration, making it completely voluntary. You see the issue with this. They're allowing companies that for decades have callously poisoned our air, our water, our land, just for profits, just simply in their pursuit of more and more profits, to decide if they care to start acting responsibly. They've also said that coal plants that plan to shut down on or before the year 2028 don't have to abide by any rules at all. They don't have to make any changes. This means that a company can completely circumvent what few rules the Trump administration has in place and continue poisoning all of us for the next 8 years. Because, I mean, what's another 8 years of arsenic and mercury in your water? Two substances, by the way, that are neurotoxins. Two substances that accumulate in your body and cause disease like cancer and Alzheimer's and a plethora of other life-altering, life-ending diseases. So in response to this disastrous change, the League of Conservation Voters Deputy Legislative Director, a woman named Madeline Foote, said the following: This disastrous rule will allow coal power plants to continue dumping toxic wastewater filled with dangerous pollutants like lead, mercury, and arsenic into the same waterways that our families drink from and play in. And remember, we're not the only ones affected by this. All forms of life in the ocean and rivers and all the animals who drink from these rivers are also impacted negatively. And for anyone eating seafood, it's almost guaranteed that your fish is going to be contaminated even more than it already is. We already know that the animals in the ocean are just besieged with all of the crap that people dump in the ocean, that these corporations dump in the ocean, stuff that just leaches out of their pits on factory farms, literally animal feces that leaches into our groundwater and makes its way into our rivers and our oceans and our streams. We know how many big oil companies have had mistakes and dumped oil into the ocean. I mean, the fish are already contaminated, but this is just going to increase it substantially. So for anybody out there who just thinks that, oh, well, all these regulations are just hurting growth and hurting profits and hurting companies. When it comes to small businesses, yes, we need to look at regulations and make them make sense. But we can't put the profits of any company, large or small, ahead of the well-being and lives of humans. What are we thinking? What in God's name are we doing? We are literally destroying human lives, the planet, all other species, all in the name of profits. We seriously, I mean, if our world ends, it will be our fault. We are to blame. We have lost sight of what's important. Our priorities are so ass backwards, it's unreal. It just blows me away. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.